That's,
Matt?
it's Matt Book.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's my ex-boyfriend who died.
What I'm really interested to know is, as something that's so personal to you, why did you include that on the record?
I included that on the record because it was this recording that... Well, you need to know what it is. If you haven't heard the record, it's not just a recording of him and me talking. It's this very specific event that happened. Well, it feels really fucked up and heavy to tell the story on stage.
You said...
Okay, so I will. Well, also, it's also a little weird to do it, but then again, like my whole life is like this struggle to figure out what's actually like too exhibitionisty and too arty, like that blurry. This is one of those like fucked up blurry lines between art and life where I think it's a great art idea, but someone could come in and be like, oh, that's sort of fucked up. So I was dating this guy named Matt, who I was really in love with in college, and it turned out, after I had been dating him for a couple of months, was a heroin addict, which is, if you know any people who are junkies, it's a really awful, awful, awful thing. And so as soon as I found that out, I told him that I didn't want to date him anymore if he was going to keep using drugs, so he promised that he would stop. And I made a deal with him where I said, as long as you tell me the truth, everything is fine. Like, if you fuck up and start using again, we'll figure it out, and I'll forgive you, but you have to tell me. And if you lie to me, forget it. Like, I can't handle that, because I can't handle dishonesty in my relationships at all. And so some weeks went by, and I'm not really sure exactly what happened. I think he was clean, but by the way, you have to know I was like 18 years old. So I didn't know fuck all about anything, and I hadn't done a lot of drugs in high school, or not those kinds of drugs. And so, this story is really long, I'm sorry. So one day he like, it was like a party night, and we were it was college, and I lived in a dorm and that kind of thing. And he told me that he was planning on doing drugs with his friends that night. And he had made this promise to me, and I was like, well, that's good and bad. Like, that's really fucked up on the one hand, but you know this in advance and you're still doing it. But I feel really happy that you told me and that you're being honest with me, and just make sure you come home at the end of the night to me. And so I went to the grocery store and I got some chocolate syrup and some ketchup, and I staged this really elaborate suicide on my bed to scare the shit out of him, because I thought that was funny. Or I didn't think it was funny. Is not the right word. I was 18, and that was my response to it. My response was like, make art. My response was do something so fucked up that it will like jar you into thinking about how much you've hurt me. And that's how I thought when I was 18. And I tape recorded it when he came into the room, and that's what that recording is.
Thank you.
Yeah. So that's the story. And then the very sad thing is that he died about 6 months after that. And